Hello, everybody. Good to see you, all of my friends out there who enjoy these live videos that I do. I know it probably feels like I haven't done one for a little while, and it's just because I've been busy, but I'm not too busy. I've just had some things going on, and I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and do these live videos. Mainly just because I'm working. And, a lot of times when you're out there networking and you're out there doing the work, then you have to pare down a little bit and back off because now you have business to do. And so that's pretty much where I've been. But I wanted to ask you a question. What sort of badass are you? And the reason why I'm asking that is because oftentimes, as I'm out, I get great response. Everybody loves the badass logo. They love the buttons I give them away or whatever, but they're like, well, of course I'm a badass. But my question is, what sort of badass are you? So for example, I certify badasses. That's right. I'm a badass certifier. So you may be actually a badass, but you're not certified unless you've come to see me. Earlier this week, somebody that I was just reintroducing myself to, hadn't put two and two together, or didn't really know me as this. They knew me in some other capacity, and looks at me and goes, "Are you the official badass?" And I'm like, I guess I am. That's a new term. I certify badasses. I'm the badass certifier. I'm the mother of badasses, and now I'm officially badass. So I love it. Like I said, it's like every time I go anywhere and someone says, "Hey, badass, how you doing?" It does not get old. And the thing is that you too could be introduced this way if you just practice some of the tools that I provide for you. Which one of them is my Badass Habits eBook, which I would love for you to grab a hold of. It's absolutely free, and I give it to you, and it's basically where the rubber meets, well, I say the band, they say the rubber meets the road. Well, I like the rubber meets the band because I do talk a lot about music, so you have to kind of get that right, rubber band. You're not dumb. You get it. But the new habits in my badass habits ebook is to help you establish a healthy mindset as you begin your day. So each habit that you'll be challenged to do is just to try one new thing, one healthy mindset habit, and just a small step out of your comfort zone. I know that for me, example, I've signed up for some of these, fast-tracked boot camp types of trainings for whatever it is, and you go through it so fast, and you get all of this information, and it's just a big, huge dump onto you, and then you have to still figure out and work your way through it. It's like I'm a firm believer that those work on a temporary basis, but you also need that healthy mindset, that positive attitude in order to maintain that level of activity. And so that's what these badass habits help you do, is establish these new healthy mindset habits that are really easy to do. And I recommend that, my ebook is really easy to read, just one short paragraph. You could do it while you're getting ready for your day, while you're drinking your coffee, or even brushing your teeth. As an ebook, I mean, you can just pull it up on your tablet or your phone while you're waiting for your coffee to brew. And then, you could even while you're sitting on the toilet first thing in the morning, you can check these things out. And then at the end of the day, you could just make a note on what you did, how you felt about it, and how you might want to do it again. There's 31 of them. And I can guarantee you that by the end of the 31 days, you're going to have a much healthier and positive mindset. You're going to be feeling better. You're going to find that you're way more productive, and that the people around you, believe it or not, are not as stressed. You know why? Because you're projecting some positivity onto them. We are transmitters, everybody. Your whole body is a transmitter. And I say that with all due respect to my broadcasting friends, but also to you. You're a transmitter. So whatever you're feeling inside, you are projecting, or you're pushing your format out onto the people around you. So when you're practicing a healthy mindset and you're practicing positivity, you are going to actually flip that format on the negative mindset, and you're going to be projecting more positivity towards your family, your relationships, your loved ones, your coworkers, your staff, your team. I go to functions a lot, and I have conversations with people, and the common answer when you ask, so how are you doing? So what are you doing these days? Is always like, oh, I'm so busy. I've got so much going on. I just don't even have time for myself. I say you need to back that up then. I don't always say it to them right there, then and there at that moment. But in my mindset, I was like, yeah, I know. I used to be guilty of that too. Running yourself ragged and not really enjoying the small moments of gratitude during the day, the things that you can be thankful for. And then we get ourselves into a pattern of this behavior where if we aren't busy, then we must not be doing enough, or we must not be successful enough. There's really no badge of honor in being too busy to take care of yourself, or to promote your own personal and professional development, or even just sitting down and reading a book so you can learn something new. One of my, it's like I'm always learning something. I love what I do for a living as a psychotherapist, because I learn so much about my clients every single time I have a session with them. And I think it's natural for me now to ask all these, these clarifying questions, and these questions that bring out in them what it is that they need to be working on. And so I ask you, what sort of badass are you? Because if you're not working towards a good, positive mindset, then how are you really badass? Is it a nasty attitude? Is it a gritty attitude where you just don't care about people? I mean, really, when I see you and you say, well, I'm badass, of course I am. I don't need a class for that. No, you don't. You really don't. That's true. Because I believe that if you have gone through the storms of life and you have experienced some trials, some triumphs, some tragedies, some crises, some obstacles, you've lived some years, then of course, if you're not quitting and you're not giving up, that is pretty badass. You're not playing that victim. But the thing is that we all can fall into that negative mindset, that negative loop that goes, and we play it like a mixtape in our head. It's like, you're not good enough, or you're not smart enough, or they're not going to like me, or I'm afraid to say anything because maybe I don't have the best ideas. And one of the things that I've learned in my lifetime, in my career and in my personal life, is that you've got to take steps. You've got to own up to some of these things. This morning earlier, I shared some information, or I shared a post about leadership and defining your roles. And if you really want to be in a leadership role, or you are in a leadership role, whether it's in your profession, your family, your community, or other areas in your life, I have a question. Are you born or destined to be a great leader? Or is leadership something you develop over your lifetime of experience? So when you motivate your team, whether it's at work or it's a sport or it's your family or your community, you exhibit great leadership ability. So what does make a great leader? I share the story that, I've always been a coach. So when somebody asks me, how long have you been doing this coaching thing? So I honestly have to answer. It's like, well, since I was about 9, because when I was 9, I was 3 years into taking tap dancing lessons. Yes, I'm a tap dancer. I would come home from my tap dancing classes, and I would gather up the neighborhood kids, and I would teach them what I just learned at tap class. And I have carried that on with me for my entire life. So like for the example that I shared in this post this morning, when I was 13 years old, I joined a cheerleading squad, and, remember feeling kind of like the odd man out. I didn't join with a friend, and all of the other cheerleaders were strangers to me until I joined the team. But the thing is that the coach for the team, she had her favorites, and she paid little attention to those of us who she didn't consider worthy of her attention. Now, I keep in mind that she was also a teenage girl, not much older than I was, maybe 3 or 4 years older than me at the time. But it caused me to feel really unimportant and insignificant. Have you ever felt that way in some sort of a business function where you weren't part of the clique? Well, the thing is that the following season, I signed up to be a coach because I didn't want anyone on the cheer squad to feel unmotivated or insignificant. So at the age of 14, I began developing leadership skills to motivate, encourage, and inspire my team. So my question is, was I born to lead, or did I develop leadership abilities? I feel that in my case, it was both. I may not have had all of those leadership abilities throughout my entire time coaching, whether it's in dance or cheerleading, whether it was coaching my own children, or it was coaching my sales team or my staff, or even now as I coach people like you to be certified and licensed to be badass. Whatever it is, I've picked up these skills along the way. But the other thing, the most important thing I do is I practice the soft skills: compassion, empathy, understanding, active listening. And you need to also, and that's what these habits will do for you. They will teach you these softer skills to increase a positive mindset so that when something comes along that is either a distraction or a detour or an obstacle, you've got tools in your toolbox to navigate your way through it, or even around it, or above it. So I just wanted to get on today and encourage you to develop those leadership skills. Check out the post I made earlier today, or grab a copy of your own copy of my Badass Habits ebook. I will post the link so that you don't have to go looking for it. I will post a link in the comments so you can just go directly. It's absolutely free. There's no commitment whatsoever. Once you just fill out the form, you've got it right there. You don't even have to check your email. It'll just like, here it is, open up this PDF right now, and you can get started right away. And I do suggest just doing one a day for 31 days. That's the challenge. One a day, 31 days. Add it to your morning routine. It's not that complicated, you guys. So when you say, I'm too busy for this, it's like I've got people that they get a hold of one of my Apple a Day books and they're like, I'm going to start it real soon. And I keep this, just open it up and look at it. I promise you're going to read one paragraph. You've already gotten started. One paragraph. It's a page a day. So the Badass Habits is very similar to that, to the Apple a Day books, is that it's just one a day. That's all you got to do. You can do that. If you want to be a certified badass or licensed to be badass, like I'm trying to encourage you to do, because badass is a mindset. It's a positive attitude for everything that you've got going on in your life, even when the negative stuff comes at you. You've got to have some tools. That's the process here. That's what I teach my clients in psychotherapy, is tools to cope with. Now, psychotherapy is definitely different than coaching. Psychotherapy is dealing with the emotions, whereas coaching is dealing with the behaviors to get you to the point where you want to be. There's a difference. I do a little bit of both with my psychotherapy clients, but when we're talking coaching, if you want to succeed in business, if you want to have your badass life that you envision for yourself, then you've got to do some of the work. You can't just do what you're doing every single day and expect things are going to change, because things will change when you make them change. Otherwise, you're going to stay on this cycle of chaos until you've had enough. And that's when change occurs, when we make the decision that we've had enough. So I'm asking you again, what, if you have ever uttered the words, I'm such a badass, I want to know what sort of badass you are. Because I have been called official badass. I've been called the badass certifier. I've been called the mother of badasses. But here's what I tell you. I wrote the program on License to be Badass, flipping the format on your fear of failure. What I'm trying to do, or what I am doing, is bringing some psychotherapy tools and taking them off the couch, the psychotherapy couch, and into your hands. Because I know that a lot of people, when I talk to them, they don't even really understand what psychotherapy is. What does that mean? What does that do? And who goes to see you? And I can explain all of that for you. But if you're watching this video, it's probably because you already identify with people who are badass. And thank you. I'm glad to have you aboard. Now I want to teach you some new tools, and it's just tools that you might need in your toolbox. It's a system. So badass is an acronym, and the B it means be yourself. And how can you be yourself if you don't really know yourself? So the tools that I provide you are ways to learn more about yourself. Yes, your personality, your temperament, your learning style, all of that. We go through that, but I also teach you about how you think, which affects the way you feel, which affects the way you behave. So when we can improve the way we think about things and think about them more in a positive mindset, it's going to change how we feel about it, and then it's going to change how we act out upon it. So behavior is very important, but it comes down to the soft skills. So I'm going to teach you some soft skills. But I'm also a business consultant. I've been in business for, I hate to say it, nearly 40 years. And so people who are just meeting me now and seeing me out at some of these functions in my local community, or you're watching this video here, I've been around the block probably 1,000 times. So all of those trainings and those workshops and seminars that you go to, I've gone to them too. And I did not want to just be another cookie cutter program. So I created my own. I use psychotherapy tools from cognitive behavioral therapy, solution focused therapy, narrative, positive psychology, neuroscience, and I package them all together in one nice system of tools. So to be yourself, to know that attitude is everything, you need a positive one in order to be successfully badass. You've got to decide to grow and succeed and stay dedicated and determined and disciplined. Yeah, there's the D in badass. The second day is awareness. You've got to be aware of yourself, practice some self-awareness and emotional intelligence while you're also aware of those around you. And I teach you how to develop that sense of awareness. And then S in badass stands for steadfastly stay the course. This is something that I struggle with as well. When something that I want to happen doesn't happen soon enough, I too just sometimes like, forget it, that doesn't work, nobody wants that. But that's not the case. If something that you want to do is really important to you, no matter how long it takes, steadfastly stay the course, keep working the program. It's like being on the freeway and you have a destination in mind. Well, how many of you have ever driven on the freeway and you didn't expect that there was going to be an accident ahead or a construction detour or traffic? But the destination is still up there and you're not giving up. You may have to take the detour, or you may have to slow down, or heck, you might have to get entirely off the freeway and find your way back to it again, or take a different route, right? Well, it's the same with your dreams and your goals and the badass life that you envision for yourself. You've got to stay the course. And I encourage you to stay the course. And then, of course, the last S stands for successful badassery. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. So it starts with my Badass Habits ebook. And I would really love to see that you have signed up and you've grabbed a copy of it and that you are going to start using it. Because I'm going to start a badass challenge pretty soon on badass habits. And then we're going to do more on leadership and more on things to say no to, and also on yourself, because it starts with yourself. You have to begin with you. There's that old saying, it's like when you're in an airplane and if the plane is going down, you need to put your oxygen mask on first before you help somebody else. So take that concept with your own life. If you're messed up, if you're not thinking right, if you're stressed out and anxious and feeling depressed, then guess what? You're not going to be able to lead your team or your family very successfully, are you? Take care of yourself. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. So get the Badass Habits ebook and let's get you started on the kind of defining what sort of badass are you. I would love to see you get certified and then licensed to be badass, because not only will it give you the tools that you need to succeed, but it also gives you a lot of credibility when you have that diploma that says licensed to be badass. And I'll show you that to you on, actually, you can see it right there. See, I'm trying to get my finger right. See right there? That's a diploma that you would get to frame and put on your wall that says certified and licensed to be badass with your name on it and everything else. It looks totally official. So I give that to you at the end of the program. But it all starts with what you got to start somewhere. Badass Habits ebook. That's what I want to encourage you to do. Sign up. I will put the comments in the links. You guys have a great Thursday. I am Kelly Orchard. I'm a speaker, author, business consultant, and certified badass myself. And I want to remind you to be bold, be brave, be confident, be badass. And I'll probably see you tomorrow for Fun Friday. Have a great day. See you later.